The Vordak Empire had conquered 47 star systems in less than 3 cycles, and their fleet commanders grew bolder with each victory. When their scouts reported a small, isolated cluster of worlds marked as Terran territory on the galactic charts, the generals laughed over their evening meal. The humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, having only established first contact 2 decades prior. Their technology appeared primitive, their military presence minimal, and their diplomatic responses to border incidents were always measured and restrained. Admiral Court studied the holographic display of the target systems with satisfaction. 5 inhabited worlds, a dozen mining outposts, and only a handful of defense platforms guarding the approaches. Intelligence reports indicated the humans maintained just 3 patrol groups in the entire sector, outdated vessels that posed no serious threat to the Vordak Armada. The Empire had crushed civilizations 10 times more formidable. The invasion fleet entered Terran space at dawn on the 3rd day of the 4th month. 200 warships, each bristling with plasma cannons and missile batteries, emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. Court expected immediate panic, a desperate call for negotiations, perhaps even a hasty surrender. Instead, the human defense platforms remained silent. The patrol ships withdrew without firing a single shot. The colony worlds below continued their daily routines as if nothing had changed. "Send the standard ultimatum," Court ordered. "Demand their unconditional surrender within 6 hours." The response came within minutes, not from a military commander but from a civilian administrator named Director Blake. The human appeared calm on the view screen, almost disinterested. He acknowledged the ultimatum, requested a 12-hour extension to consult with his government, and ended the transmission before Court could respond. The Admiral felt a flicker of unease but dismissed it. Fear took many forms, and denial was common among those who faced overwhelming force. 12 hours passed. Then 24. The Vordak fleet maintained formation, weapons locked on the colony worlds below, but still no response came. Court sent increasingly aggressive messages, each one ignored. His officers grew restless. Some suggested opening fire immediately, making an example of the nearest planet. Others wondered if the humans were truly so foolish as to sacrifice millions of civilians for pride. On the 2nd day, something changed. The long-range sensors detected a massive energy surge from deep within the system, beyond the orbit of the outermost planet. Court ordered his science teams to investigate, but their instruments could not identify the source. The energy signature was unlike anything in the Vordak database. It was not a weapon charging, not a shield activating, not a reactor coming online. It was something else entirely. The 3rd day brought the first sign that the Vordak had made a terrible miscalculation. A single ship appeared on the edge of the system, emerging from a jump point that should not have existed. It was enormous, easily twice the size of Court's flagship, and its hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No weapons were visible on its surface. No shield shimmered around its frame. It simply drifted into position and waited. Court hailed the vessel repeatedly. No response came. He ordered 3 destroyers to approach and demand identification. The destroyers closed to weapons range, powered up their cannons, and broadcast final warnings. The black ship did nothing. When the lead destroyer fired a test shot across its bow, the plasma bolt simply vanished before impact, as if space itself had swallowed it whole. Then the ship moved. It accelerated faster than Vordak sensors could track, crossing 1,000,000 kilometers in seconds. It did not fire weapons or deploy fighters. It simply passed through the destroyer formation, and as it did, all 3 ships lost power simultaneously. Life support failed. Engines went dark. Communications ceased. The vessels became lifeless hulls, drifting in the void with their crews trapped inside. Panic rippled through the Vordak fleet. Court demanded explanations from his officers, but none could provide answers. The black ship had not fired a single weapon, had not triggered any known defensive system, yet it had neutralized 3 warships without effort. The Admiral considered retreat, but dismissed the thought immediately. The Empire did not flee from single vessels, no matter how unusual their capabilities. He ordered the fleet to attack in force. 50 ships broke formation and advanced on the black vessel, filling space with enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. The barrage reached the target zone, and once again, every shot simply ceased to exist. No explosions, no shield flashes, no debris. The weapons vanished as if they had never been fired. The black ship responded by releasing something from its interior. Court's sensors identified them as small drones, thousands of them, each no larger than a fighter craft. They spread through the Vordak formation like a swarm of insects, moving with impossible coordination. When they reached the warships, they did not attack. Instead, they attached themselves to hulls and began broadcasting a signal. Every screen in the Vordak fleet suddenly displayed the same image. Director Blake appeared once more, but this time his expression held no warmth, no diplomatic courtesy. He spoke in measured tones, his words carrying the weight of absolute certainty. "You entered Terran space believing us weak because we chose peace," Blake said. "You interpreted our restraint as inability. You mistook patience for fear. These are common errors among aggressive species, and we have seen them many times before." Court tried to override the transmission, but his technicians could not regain control of their systems. Blake continued speaking, his voice echoing through every ship in the fleet. "What you see before you is a fraction of our true capability," the director explained. "The vessel you engaged is not a warship. It is a research platform, unarmed and operating on automatic protocols. The technology you witnessed is 40 years outdated by our current standards. We have not deployed our actual military assets because we hoped you would reconsider your actions." The holographic display in Court's command center suddenly changed, showing a view of space far beyond their current position. Hundreds of human ships appeared on the screen, each one different in design but all radiating the same unsettling presence as the black vessel. They surrounded the Vordak Empire's home system, positioned at every jump point, every trade route, every military installation. They had been there for days, invisible and waiting. "We are not newcomers to this galaxy," Blake continued. "We have been here far longer than your species has possessed spaceflight. We watched your empire rise, studied your culture, and waited to see what kind of neighbors you would become. Today you answered that question." Court felt his combat instincts crumble into dust. The implications were staggering. If the humans possessed such technology, such reach, why had they hidden themselves? Why allow other species to believe them weak? Blake seemed to anticipate the question. "We hide because revealing our true nature causes more problems than it solves. Species either become dependent on our protection or hostile to our existence. We prefer to observe, to guide quietly, to intervene only when necessary." "You have made intervention necessary." The drones attached to the Vordak ships began to glow. Court braced for destruction, but death did not come. Instead, his vessels began moving against his commands, executing a coordinated retreat toward the system's edge. Every ship in the fleet responded to the same invisible hand, carrying them away from the human colonies and back toward the border. "Your fleet will be escorted out of Terran space," Blake said. "Your weapons will be disabled until you reach neutral territory. Your crews will be unharmed. When you return to your empire, you will deliver this message to your leaders. Humanity offers peace to all who respect our borders. We have no desire for conquest, no ambition for dominion over others, but we will not tolerate aggression against our people." The transmission ended. Court stood in his command center, watching helplessly as his invasion force became a parade of prisoners, guided home by an enemy that had defeated them without firing a shot. Around him, officers sat in stunned silence, processing the reality that they had just attacked one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy and survived only because that civilization chose mercy. The Vordak Empire never again approached Terran territory. The story of Admiral Court's fleet spread through the galactic community, whispered in council chambers and military academies. Some species dismissed it as propaganda, but others recognized the truth in the tale. Humanity had revealed themselves at last, not as conquerors or saviors, but as something far more unsettling. Watchers who had been present all along, patient and hidden, waiting to see what the younger races would become. And in the silent spaces between stars, human vessels continued their vigil, unseen and eternal.